Hey folks, this is Captain Jim coming at you with another scooter video. We're still in the Black Hills and enjoying our time on the scoots. Today's ride will take us past Mount Rushmore. You can see that in the background as Joan's going by on her X-Max. Mount Rushmore is a pretty spectacular sculpture carved into the side of the mountain, and it never gets old. We take pretty much every opportunity we can to ride by here. Even if we don't stop and go in amongst the grounds there, it's a lot of fun to just ride by. Today's video, as you could probably tell from the title of it, isn't our usual ride video. I did impact a deer, and we'll talk about that a little later. Oh, there was one last view of George's profile. We're now on Highway 244 that takes you west of Mount Rushmore, kind of behind the memorial. And it's a road that connects you with 16A and Highway 385. It's a lot of fun. Good sweeping curves. From there, we're now on to South Dakota Highway 87. This is a road that takes you into Custer State Park. It seems like a lot of the roads in the Black Hills were designed for fun and some spectacular scenery. Through the tunnel and the twisty roads. Some really interesting rock formations along here. Right now we're closing in towards the Sylvan Lake Lodge area, and from there we'll be taking a left onto Needles Highway. Some really fun sweeping curves in this area. And you can tell as we get towards the Sylvan Lake Resort, there's more traffic. This was a lovely, very light traffic day. And Needles Highway takes us, of course, to Needles Eye and the tunnel at Needles Eye. I don't think I've ever been to this area where there wasn't at least some bit of a slowdown with traffic. The tunnel is narrow, about 8 feet wide, and about 9.5 feet tall. And it seems to freak out a lot of people. And here's one of the features. The actual Needle's Eye. You can see looking through there, it does look like the eye of a needle. And here we are heading into the tunnel. It's not unusual to get behind traffic that freaks out a little bit as they go through this, and there's a lot of stop and go. Traffic gets held up on both sides of the tunnel. We've even seen times when there's somebody directing traffic. But most days you're just on your own. And on the other side of the tunnel brings us in or onto the Needles Highway. And you can see over my shoulder there some spectacular views looking off into the distance. The road is narrow here and there are no lines drawn on it. It is wide enough for two normal-sized vehicles to pass, but you'll see a lot of people who get a little panicky on a road without center lines. Not unusual for us to get caught behind something like this guy right here, where they come almost to a complete stop as other traffic comes at them from the other direction. There's about 5 miles of road that doesn't have a center line. and again winds you through some spectacular rock formations. A lot of people aren't aware of this, but the Needles Highway and that Needles area is what originally brought Gutzon Borglum, the sculptor of Mount Rushmore, to this area. Local businessmen thought it would be a neat attraction to bring a sculptor in and have him carve the figures of the day, like Kit Carson and Buffalo Bill, onto some of these spires. Fortunately, Gutzon Borglum had a grander idea in mind and came up. Oh, watch for the traffic there. Gutzon Borglum had another idea in mind and eventually found Mount Rushmore and came up with the carvings, or the idea of the carvings. You have to expect that traffic is going to be slow. The speed limit in this area, where there are no markings, varies between 20 and down to 10 miles an hour. So you know you're not going to be able to tear up the curves here. But it's okay to go slow and take in all the pretty scenery. And the cars that stop over and over in front of you. Eventually we stopped at Hole in the Wall for a picnic. Joan's good about packing us up stuff, and it's a nice break midway in between on our ride. And we're getting ready to roll back out onto Needles Highway. This would be the lower portion of it as we're leaving the Needles area. And you can see here an actual center line on the road. And instead of real tight hairpin curves with extreme drop-offs, these are nice sweeping curves. A lot of fun for motorcycles and scooters. The speed limit in this area is up to 35 miles an hour. Takes you through the trees, the curves, the hills. Custer State Park is one of the largest state parks in the country. Home to a buffalo herd, baking burros, and lots of other wildlife. Yeah, just making a note there that there is a fender on the front of that scooter right there. It'll be the last time you get to see that. Joan was in front of me at this particular time. And we do take turns. I usually take the lead. And fortunately, for all involved, it wasn't long. It was in this stretch of road here where little Bambi jumped out in front of us. No, I did not have the camera running at that time. Probably best that you don't see it if you're squeamish. It did some damage to the Vespa. Pretty much lost the front fender. Joan said she saw little Bambi scamper off into the woods. I can't verify that. Interestingly enough, when I turned this in for insurance, the insurance claims adjuster asked me, "Did you get a photo of the deer?" Yeah, I took selfies with it. No, I didn't get a photo of the deer. I was trying to get my ass out of the middle of a narrow 2-lane road while picking up parts. So here we are, back out on the road, rolling again. We stopped at the first available spot where we could safely take some photos of the damage and remove the last bit of fender that was hanging. Those Harleys that you saw in front of us there gave me a hand with getting some of that off. And here's another little woodland creature in the middle of the road. This is a mountain goat, and he is significantly bigger than the little Bambi that I hit. I'm not going to say I hit him. He committed suicide. And one other thing that Custer State Park is well known for, buffalo. That guy's a lot closer than I need to see him. Custer State Park has one of the largest public buffalo herds in the country. And yes, they are allowed to wander all through the park. They are wildlife. This particular stretch is not on the wildlife loop. This is on Highway 16A that takes you through the main part of the park. This just happened to be where the buffalo were wandering that particular day. This is actually really close to the State Game Lodge. As you can see, there are buffalo on either side of the road pretty much as far as the eye can see. They are magnificent animals and they are huge. You do not want to mix it up with them if you're on two wheels. And then out of Custer State Park and onto some of the curvy roads that take us back to our motor home, our home away from home while we're in the Black Hills. Hope you enjoyed riding along with us today. I love the curves, the hills, all the features. And if you like, subscribe, and we'll see you again on another Captain Jim video. Thanks.